Hello, lady. Hello. I am excited for this class.
How are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Coming from sunny England.
It is actually sunny today, believe it or not. It's still cold, but it's sunny. Every win's a
Quite,
win.
quite the fluffy jacket you've got on.
I know. You know why? Because I've literally just spilled like Huel down myself as I was so I was like, oh gosh, I'll put the jumper back on. But I was in a t-shirt.
All good. All righty. Right, let me just get slides up and ready. Okay. I'm just going to crack on, and if people come in later on, we can add them in. Right. How do I? Bushra, I mean, I can't hear you, but just pop yourself on mute just in case. I'm just going to dive right in, guys. Thank you for coming today. Welcome to this masterclass training and conversation around the future of the coaching space, the female entrepreneur space. This is going to be different to what I usually do. And so I'm excited to just go through a bit of teaching, but also invite discussion from you guys. And this can be a collaborative piece as well. So I'm going to do a Q&A at the end. But any questions that you've got along the way, by all means, pop a question in the chat, and I shall answer them as we go. Okay. Righty ho. Let me move this and you and you. That was going to happen. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to move me over here. Can everyone see? We all good? Thumbs up. Wicked. Okay, let's dive in. Whoop. The future of female entrepreneurship. I know that sounds like a really big title. And I thought, well, start the year with a bang, you know? So inside here is going to be predictions of things that we're leaving behind in 2023, but also things that are going to be big coming forward. Now, some of these are based in research, but some of these are based on trends that like we've seen happen. And there is personal opinion in here. I'm not saying that all of these are definitely going to come true, but I think that these are things to at least watch out for, if not try and get ahead of the curve. And so, surprise here, I am not going to pitch to you in this masterclass. One of the things that I really want to do differently is do things that are unexpected. And so this masterclass is literally just us having a bit of thought leadership and like an industry leading conversation about where we're going. But we might have come on here and been like, oh, what's you going to sell to me at the end? This isn't about what I'm going to sell to you. This is about me just giving value and inviting you into a space where we can have this high level conversation without there being any expectation of return at the end. One of the things that I really want to do more of is create really high value but long form content going through 2024. And so there's going to be things like this. There might be some pitches in other masterclasses, but things like this where I'm just like, I'm just going to share the gold. And if we decide to work together after, we can, but you will not find me pitching in this masterclass. So that I would just do things a little bit differently starting from the get-go. So agenda for this masterclass. So why this masterclass? Why did I decide to bring it out? Things that are out, we're leaving in 2023. Things that are in for 2024, predictions for the future, and how you can utilize those to get ahead. Alrighty, let's dive in. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. This is a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, which is part true, but it doesn't really go the extra mile. Like, yes, it's great to be a dreamer and a believer, but it's only those, so I did my own little take on it. It's only those that actually action those dreams that are going to be the ones that get ahead. Like, I speak to a lot of people who have big dreams and they might be great at planning and being like the visionary, but without being the person that actions these plans, ultimately there's lots of people who are dreamers. Lots of people can have big dreamers, But when we look at who are the people that are going to get ahead in 2024, it's the ones that bring those dreams into reality. And I'm not saying you have to hit every milestone that you've set your agenda for 2024, but be the person who takes action. Be the person who shortens their timeline between dream and action. Be the person who gets around other action takers. The future belongs to those who relentlessly go after their dreams, not just the ones that have dreams. Plenty of people are dreamers. Also, if you want to take a picture of this slide, you can do. Whoop. I am going to just check the chat. Also, Beth, nice to see you here, Flower. She took a break, took a little pause, but you're back in the room and it's good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so why this masterclass? Why did I decide to bring this out other than it was the start of the year and I was like, how can we do something that is like forward thinking, a bit more industry leading, thought leadership style? So yes, obviously the turn of the new year, January, being a good time to like really future pace and get people thinking about the future and the whole year ahead. But also the industry as a whole is massively growing, massively, year on year. And so the fact that you're here on this class means you're already ahead of the curve. But we're going to see more and more people coming into not just coaching, but doing remote work, digital nomad life, traveling with their business. Even if it's working for their company, we're going to see more and more people working remotely and working online. So this is going to bring a lot of opportunities, but it is going to, like, the market is going to boom. And so I found these stats online. The stat that the online coaching market was valued at 3.2 billion last year. Okay, 2 years ago, 2022. But it's projected by 2032, so only 10 years different, to be 11.7 billion, which is absolutely wild. Very few industries are seeing that sort of projection in terms of growth. If you're wondering what CAGR stands for, it's compound annual growth rate. So compound, as in the annual growth rate, compounded, is at 14% year on year, which is insane. Now, there's going to be various things that come into this, like number of people coming into the market, but also the tech and systems and AI that are speeding up the people who are already in the market. So we're going to see new technology coming out. We're going to see apps coming out. We're going to see whole new businesses, and both things that massively scale over time, but also scale very quickly, and either fast-paced startups and things like that. So this is a really, really good time to really have an objective view of your current business, to be like, it's not just a tagline to be saying, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Like, the industry is continuing to boom, and we're going to see more and more products, systems, and services coming in to support that. So how can you really look at, we'll get more into time-consuming things in a second, and things we're leaving in 2023, but I'd really be using this time to have an objective view of your business and be like, what currently isn't serving me or the business or my way of working? I know that the industry is going to continue growing, so use this as your baseline. If the industry is going to grow at 14% year on year, you should be growing at 14% year on year as a baseline. Because if you're growing at less than 14%, you're behind where the average person in the industry is. So we want to make sure that you're ahead of that. So if you haven't already, this would be a great time to look at your numbers from the annual January to December, or whenever you started your company or business, if you have a different, calendar year sort of thing. But look at what your year on year is. Are you at 14% or more? The benefit of you being an online business and having limited expenses means that your profit margin has the potential to be a lot bigger. You don't have a lot of outgoings. So you can be absolutely like 14%, yes, but what if you could grow that? There's nothing stopping you doing 20%, 30%, 50%, 60% year on year. So time to have a good objective view of the business and be like, right, where can we work smarter, not harder? And then lastly, according to Upwork, they've estimated that in a year's time, an estimated 32.6 million Americans will be working remotely, which equates to 22% of the workforce. So just take that in for a second. They're estimating that almost 1 in 4 people will be working remotely. That is insane. And obviously the pandemic has got a lot to answer for in that, because I remember doing this research just for my own interest before the pandemic had hit, and it was around 10% of Americans they estimated were working remotely. And so now that's doubled in just a few years. So we're going to see that continue to double as more and more people, especially now with the boom of social media and more platforms, and it being a bit more normalized, where you're seeing people work from different countries, different time zones, and you're seeing that it's easy and doable. We're going to see more and more people working remotely, and either from just working from home or from other places in the world. So we are going to continue to see the remote workforce boom. So what does this mean for you? Yes, it's going to mean more competition. There are going to be more and more people coming onto the market, both who are bringing existing skills from corporate roles and transitioning that into an online service, be service providers or coaching their skills to other people. So there are going to be more people who do what you do. That's a fact. But with that means that there's more opportunities. Because if there's more providers and the industry is growing, there's going to be more people who are actively seeking the remote workforce for the work that they look for. You know, where traditionally people might have gone to a design agency or looked for a coach or mentor that lived in their town, and they might have gone through a localized service. Now people are going to be more and more in the habit of searching social media to get the providers that they want. So yes, there's going to be more people who do what you do, but there's also going to be more people seeking what you do. So it's a win-win all round. So what that means is that, yes, there'll be more fish in the sea at the end of the day, but there'll be more people fishing. So let's dive into my predictions for the next 12 months inside the coaching and online business industries. So some things that are out for 2024, things that we're leaving in last year. Okay, this is a personal bugbear of mine, but I've seen multiple people say this as well. People who use like a really catchy hook in their content, and then as soon as you open it, it goes read caption for more. I unfollow people who do that. I tell you why, and I've seen other people and looked at their reasoning, and for me, it's because it feels like you're leading someone on. I don't care how valuable your caption is. You promised something that was going to be given in that reel. And then when someone has come to the reel to get what you promised to deliver, you haven't delivered it. You've told them to go somewhere else. So it's just a bit misleading for me. I get that it's a quick way of creating content. I get that it's time saving. I get all the reasons why people do it. I also know people who've massively grown their accounts. So, you know, it does work if you're just looking to increase your following. But what it does is break trust with your audience. So, and I've seen multiple people, including big providers, talking about this. So if you're someone that has been guilty of using read caption for more, either bring some value into the reel so that you're not just letting people down, or don't. Either put it in the carousel. Just give people what you promised to give them. People have got very short attention spans, and what we're going to see is that, like, because of the amount of marketing messaging people are seeing, you're going to only have to let them down once for you potentially to lose them as a person or a follower. So little things where you break trust, you know, when we think about constantly building that know, like, and trust with people, doing things like this, being like, hey, come here and I'll give you some value. And then they arrive here and you're like, psych, it's over here. People are going to be like, fuck off. You lied. It's only a little lie, but it's the implication that if you have a little lie over here, what else do you lie about? Or what other things are you not sticking to your word about? It creates that little bit of mistrust, and it's so avoidable. So either if you're going to drop really good value, either put it into a carousel or just give them the value in the reel. You can always repeat it in the caption. Coaches or service providers with no visible portfolio. You wouldn't buy a house off someone whose houses you couldn't see. You would go to a photographer whose work you couldn't see. You would not go to, I don't know, I'm looking at you, Beth, so I'm going to say someone who promised to analyze your data if they'd got no visible data or like reports that you could see what data they'd analyzed in the past. Like, we want to buy from people, and it's the same with shop windows. You wouldn't go past your favorite store if there was nothing in the window and you couldn't see what clothes were on offer. Would you be like, yes, take my money, please? Let me drop £500 blind? No. And so again, with more and more people coming onto the market, it's a lot easier for people to shop around. And so your visible results, your visible portfolio needs to be easy to find for people. Kind of goes on to, if I put it here, no, but I'll talk about it now. Make your feedback and either client results or client feedback easy to find for people. What I would also say is screenshots. It's kind of along that same line, but share people's names or context, obviously with consent. You know, some people prefer not to have it announced that they're working with a certain mentor. Totally get that. And if they want to stay anonymous, absolutely fine. But if you've worked with people and they're more than happy to give you feedback or leave you a testimonial, ask for it in public. Either Google reviews or something that, like, share it to their stories that then you can reshare and you can save that to your highlights. And I'm talking as someone that has got so many Google reviews, feedback forms, that all it's done is it's sat in my Google Drive. Nobody can see it. What good is that to me? You know, there can be endless people that come onto my page and go, oh, what has she done for people in the past? And I'm like, oh, well, it's sat in my Google Drive. Like, what help is that? So if you haven't already done this, look to be building in public, either by using Google reviews or someone has said to me, Sarah, get on Trustpilot. Again, because there's a lot of people who unfortunately let people down. And so just to distance yourself from other people who will inevitably come into your industry, either with an entire lack of experience and unfortunately let people down. So you just want to distance yourself from those people as easily as possible for potential clients, so they come to your page and straight away they know that you are the one. You know, they know your credibility. It's easy to find, and they can see people that have worked with you and what results have been possible for you in the past. So yes, screenshots with no names or context, like, can be helpful to build demand, but if you really want to build trust, be sharing either like actual stories that you've got for people, again, with consent. If you haven't got consent, maybe you can use like client K or client F, but the more that you can use existing clients who are happy to be tagged or talked about, the more credibility that's going to be building, just so that anyone new that's looking can straight away go to your past clients and ask what it's like to work with you. Vague ass messaging. So fluffy messaging is not going to stand in 2024. Again, you've got a whole volume of people that are coming in. And so I need to be really clear and certain. Certainty in what is possible by working with you. Certainty in your confidence around the offer. You're saying things like, I'll help you level up. I'll help you get confident. That doesn't create certainty because it's too wishy-washy. It's too grey. Whereas when you use clear messaging about what outcome people are going to get by working with you, and in whatever way you're communicating this, whether it's written or verbal, you are solid in your conviction of how you communicate this. If you're either like, yeah, I think this is going to happen, or this might happen, people aren't going to buy. So the more certain you can be and the more confident you can speak about your offers. If you can't speak around your offers with complete confidence, like it's the best thing since sliced bread, dissect your offer as to why. What is it about the offer? And again, I've attempted to launch stuff in the past that I had a sticky point around for whatever reason. Now, is it the price point? Is it the format? Is it the length of time? Is it, dig into whatever it is that's not sitting right with you so that you can fix it, so that you can either go back to the drawing board or plug that gap so that you can show up with certainty. You need to be pitching your offers with like backing yourself 100%. Cheap shop marketing and triggered content. So what I mean by this is we're going to see a rise because people will be more and more willing to try and stand out because the size of the crowd is going to be bigger. So we're going to see some spicy ass content. We are going to see shots fired. Pain point marketing will probably turn the volume dial up. But what I mean by cheap shot marketing is just taking digs at others in order to make yourself stand out. Unnecessary digs. Whether that's shots at your peers and others in the industry, shots at your clients. Now, I think there's a difference between calling the industry to rise to a higher standard versus just digging people out and making them feel shit. So if you're using marketing that is a little bit like, ooh, this is a bit, on the line, make sure, just going into this next part, it's not coming from a place of being triggered. You're not angry when you're writing it. It's not like fresh off. It's not something that's just happened. You've slept on this. You're not just be like, right, and I'm all for creating in the moment and when you're inspired. But if it's something that's either hot, heated, or it's gonna ruffle some feathers, wait until you've slept on it to make sure it's not coming from a place of too much emotion behind it. You take an emotion out and it's coming from a place of, we need to do better, rather than just firing shots and being angry. I'm just going to check the chat. Okay, Hannah, instant turn off. Exactly. What's annoying about that sort of marketing is it's very bingeable, but it's not going to make you look credible. And clients aren't going to come in being like, oh, I'd love to work with her because, let me be the next one that she fires shots at. I'd love that. Let me just go stand up on the shooting line. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but anyway, I was thinking of old school, death by shooting range and all of that. But anyway, overthinking your content. Speed is going to matter going forwards. So if you're an overthinker, you're going to have to, I see a hand raised. You're going to have to overcome this. This is going to be your battle. So however you want to work this, whether you turn it into a game and you set yourself a timer, whether it's like, whether an idea lands that you're just like, all right, I'm going to, straight away schedule that or straight away create that. But there can be no more overthinking. Like, trust your own judgment and have a little look at who's here, because everyone here knows their shit. Hey, Ramsha. Hey, darling. And so no more overthinking your content. Trust your judgment. You're really great at what you do, and people need to hear your voice. So don't overthink how you say it or what the right words are. And I know that you're in the industry, like we're all seeing this. Oh my God, your messaging needs to be perfect. I'm just like, fuck perfect. Like, there will always be more refinement to do. There will always be. But people are going to feel your intention behind it. It doesn't matter if it's word perfect. And that will be the hill that I die on. I don't care. Because I would much rather see the energy that you bring to it and how you feel about it and how you sell it, rather than thinking like, oh my God, does this speak to the symptom of the problem that they were experiencing when they woke up in bed this morning? I feel like people get way too overthinking about the messaging, and it stops them creating content. And for every day now that you don't post, that's another day that somebody else is. Like, gone are the days of it's all about quality and not about quantity. The reality is it is about quantity now. And so there isn't the time to be spending 3 hours on a single post or overthinking your content and letting 3 or 4 days go by. And again, I've been both of those people. I used to be the person, I'd say 2022, where I'd attach like a lot of importance, again, because I wanted to stand out from the crowd. I wanted people to read things in my voice. I wanted to be different. But if you're spending either hours on end on a single post or not posting because you're doubting yourself and being like, oh, well, and then you're seeking things online and looking for the people's idea, which all that's going to do is water down your ideas even more. Ultimately, you're putting yourself days behind. When we think about the curve of compounding interest, your reps matter. So if you're putting in less reps, and by reps, I mean posted content, whether it's messy, whether it's got spelling errors, whether you look back at it a week later and just like, ah, shit, or whether you change your opinion the next week. You know, I might post this, I'll post the replay in the Facebook group, and if next week I go, you know, all those predictions, I disagree with them, I'll host a new masterclass next week with my new predictions. You know, have less attachment to perfectionism and more attachment to the compounding reps and the long game. So attach. What about using ChatGPT to help with what to write? I think I'm going to talk a little bit about AI. I think it's good if you want to use it for ideas, but you're still going to need to take the text and put it in your own words and your own way of saying things. So it can give you an initial helper of like starter pack of what to be talking about, or some content ideas or hooks and things like that. But I wouldn't be just lifting it and putting it into content, because this is also something I'm going to talk about. Well, I've kind of mentioned it here, generalized educational content. Any content that is just general, people are going to be assuming that ChatGPT has written it now. Like, people are way more AI aware. So if this is just general stuff, it isn't spoken in the way that you would say it, it's not got like a little bit of personalization in there, then people could naturally assume that just AI has written it. And so I'd be really looking like, what are your ways of saying things? Again, I'm not saying have really technical messaging. I'm saying, what are some words, or either words that you use, or little like personifications that we can then be like, either people that already know you for these things, or that you can start, you know, fusing them into things so that people get to know you for it. This can be as simple as an emoji that you use all of the time, or like a theme or words. Like, you see me use things like chica, honeybee, flower all of the time. And so are there either words, colloquialisms, or just ways of saying things that you can create your content with, so that it's not just generic? Bring some of the you, in fact, bring a lot of the you into your content. And lastly, building alone. Gone are the days where building alone, you know, struggling uphill, pushing a rock uphill, feeling like, why don't any of my friends get me? I wish I knew more people who did this. Like, we've come through that season. And Beth, I remember seeing, like, when we went for brunch, what would that have been, like early 2022, maybe? That London brunch, and we were all like, oh my God, people in person, real people who work online. And we were so grateful to meet other people who do what we did. Whereas now we're seeing so much more people, whether it's like in-person events, more memberships, more communities. Like, there's so many easier ways to find people who work online now. So I think it's incredibly refreshing from that perspective. You've got a far more easier ways to both to make friends, but also to get support. So this whole struggle uphill on your own makes no sense anymore. So find your people, get in communities. There's free ones as well as paid ones. There is no excuse to be feeling under the weather, or feeling like either nobody has felt like you're feeling, or just struggling with any mindset stuff. They're like, the strategy is available for you, the friends are available for you, the mentors or support are available for you. So none of this building alone and being just like, oh, this feels really heavy. It feels really heavy for a lot of people. Lean into people. Okay. So big trends for 2024. Building in public. Now, this is a little bit of a newer concept to Instagram, but it's already quite popular on TikTok and LinkedIn. People are doing like founder stories and getting their audience in from the get-go. So whether it's saying, I'm building a 6-figure marketing agency, watch me build to 100 followers first. Or I want to build a team of 7 people, but watch me work from home in my childhood bedroom while I'm taking this off. Or one day I'll work 2 hours from the beach. Watch me now while I'm doing 12 hours a day, busting my ass to build a newsletter. We're seeing a lot more of this content, and I think this will continue to be really popular, because whilst, yes, people like to see people who are winning, I think it's also quite tiring for people. It's a little bit exhausting. We've kind of seen it all, and people are just mentally drained. And so it's far more interesting to be part of the story with someone and watch them on that journey rather than just seeing the success story, not really knowing what went into it, and unfortunately, not even knowing if it's truthful, because we see a lot of bullshit as well. So for the ones who are willing to build in public, and yes, that's going to be a far more bold way of doing things, but this is exactly what's going to help them stand out in 2024, is committing to a goal and that forward-thinking thing and saying, come with me on this journey. Because then it not like A, the self-accountability, but also B, because you've spoken your goals, and so many people would rather talk about their goals in private in case they don't hit them. You know, so there's already that bit of doubt in there. Whereas when you're willing to build in public and say, here's what I'm committing to, you're going to watch the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I'm going there. That certainty will get people rallying around for you. And this is what's going to build community. It's what's going to build support. It's going to bring followers, because people love to see people who are on a journey. Let them come with you on their journey. So be willing to commit to something where you're building in public and saying, come with me as I do this, and have that certainty of, I'm doing it whether you're coming or not. So you might as well come along, but this bandwagon is leaving. Live events will take off. We're already seeing this happen, but this is going to become even more popular. We saw as the pandemic closed everything, and I was in the events industry before that happened, and it decimated the events industry. People like all shows, all in public meetups. You know, I was in business to business events, and that was a massive way of people doing business pre-2020. People would turn up to events and literally just to capture all of those people who were in the room. So we're seeing this start to take off again. So not just with big trade shows and exhibitions, but with smaller meetups, local meetups. Now there's more and more people coming into the industry, we will see, not just in major cities like your London and New York, but more and more stuff popping up in different areas of countries. So it'll be easier to get to stuff. There'll be no excuse for, oh, I've never met friends from the online space, or being able to, meet people in public. This will become easier because people really value in-person connections. Like, it's one thing to build all your online biz friends. That's awesome. But when you meet people in public, it literally is an energetic and emotional shift. I saw that when I did main character energy, that everybody separately came up to me after. I was just like, Sarah, this has been the best day of my business journey so far, because I've met people who feel the same way as me. Like that connection when you bring people together. So whether you're looking to go to more events or you're looking to be the one that hosts more events, we're going to see this really, really transform. So if you are someone, and I got into live events by literally hosting meetups first. You know, you don't have to commit to something that's like, oh my God, I'm going to host a conference. Like, just be seen as someone that brings people together, or someone that's willing to go to events. You know, be the one that's willing to get into the room, because not only will it change your relationship both with the business and your friends and build more friends, but also your network is your net worth. I've seen it both with the main character energy girls, but also other people, like either that I've met in public. But people are so much more happy to either make recommendations and referrals when they've actually met people in person, because there's been that eye contact, that shared experience. There's way more trust involved when you've looked at someone in the eye and built a friendship with them. So not only just from a what could you get from it and who could you meet, but also how many people that meet you could then refer you. Think about the 6 degrees of separation. The more rooms you can get yourself in, the fewer points of contact you've got to a massive audience. So then in-person connections will make such a difference. You know, when there's more and more people coming into the online space, the more in-person connections you can make. Again, the more trust you've got, the more visibility you've got. People will be more willing to travel further to be in the room. So because there's going to be more events going on, yes, it will be easier to travel and get in a room that's closer to you because there'll be more events going on. But also the ones that are either really important to you or just in general, people will be willing to travel further and further to get in the room, either with high profile people or people that are going to really inspire them, or just really prioritize being in the room over just a Zoom room. whether it's going to watch a talk, like, I'm just going to check, Leonie's still here? Yes. The first time I met Leonie in person, we were going to the Stephen Bartlett event. And so that was like a stage show. And obviously he's continued to go bigger and bigger. So whether it's your favorite author, it doesn't have to be like a coach or mentor or service provider. It could be a public speaker, your favorite author, anyone that inspires you, go get in the room, because the experience that you have, like, I'm going to see if there's a Leonie here. Yes, best day. We'd booked tickets to that event, but both individually. And so I was stood there in a busy crowd by myself, literally just bawling my eyes out because of how it felt to be in the room. It helped that there was a massive, what do they call it? Is it symphonic orchestra? The ones that blow your socks off, basically. And it was just so, like, the feelings of that event was like hair stand on end, literally just stood in the crowd crying. And I wasn't alone, everybody around me was crying. But it, you just wouldn't get that from a Zoom room. So get in the room as and where and as often as possible. It would change your chemistry. And I know because Leonie and me had our VIP day after that, being in the room with Stephen Bartlett, which was incredible. So yes, there'll be more VIP days happening. There'll be more retreats happening. There'll be more one-day conferences. There'll be more 5- and 7-day things going on. So look for what suits you as a person, in terms of like the energy capacity that you have, but also, times of year, budget, all the things, but just look for opportunities where you can get physically in the room, and that will so change your business, both from the connections that you make, but also how much you pay attention when you're physically in the room. When you've changed your whole environment, and it's a whole new environment, you're so much more present because you've got no muscle memory to the surroundings around you. So it means you're way more focused on what's actually happening in the room. More offer collaborations and partnerships will happen. This was a unusual thing that came to me, and I'm predicting that this will happen, not just through lives and collaborations, but people pooling together, whether it's on things like mini minds, masterminds, retreats, one-day experiences, multi-day experiences, coaching. We see this a little bit with like group programs and masterminds of like guest speakers coming in for like a one workshop or something. But I think that we'll start to see more and more collaborations on a deep level happening, like people really pooling their talents together, and this whole stronger together vibe, less building alone and more being like, how can you complement what I'm doing, and how can I complement what you're doing? Also the sign for you, what is your strength or weakness, and what could be a good collaboration for you to make? How could you partner with someone who would have a similar audience to you, and you can be the strength to their weakness? Multi-platform marketing is expected. So gone are the days where single platform marketing, like, it's not happening anymore. Buyers are far more advanced, and you should be assuming, like, you should just assume that is normal and expected, that they are already looking for you on other platforms. And so if they can't find you on other platforms, they're going to assume that either you're still a small business, a temporary business, a new startup. So if you're listening to this and you're like, shit, I'm only on one platform, this is your sign. Buyers are going to be looking to see what your personality type is depending on the different platform, because you're going to show up differently in different areas. So they're going to want to know what you're like. Either, if you're on TikTok, they're going to want to know what the more funny or video or, more of your facial personalities and your way of being. Whereas on LinkedIn, it might be not quite so like controversial, but it might be your well thought out ideas and how you really want to raise the industry, or more educational content. So expect that people are going to be looking for you on different platforms, because they want to immerse themselves in you. We're going to see more and more people, I think it's on another slide, but we're going to see more and more people educating themselves without ever speaking to you. So more and more out of the blue clients, because they're already looking for you on other platforms. They will educate themselves, get to see what is possible, like qualify themselves without needing a full sales conversation. and then come forward like, okay, I'm ready. And so it's on you to be like, how can I be on multiple platforms? Working smarter here. I'm not just saying you need to do the most and be on 5 different platforms and create an entire strategy for every single platform. That's not what I'm saying. How can you work smarter, not harder? I use the example of one time where I worked particularly well and I was like, oh my God. And it's because I know that one of my weaknesses is that I can place far too much attachment to creating things beautifully in Canva to have a really nice detailed carousel. I love a carousel, we know this, but also I can get lost in that and it creates too much time. And so when I'm looking at how I can work smarter, not harder, what I'll do is speak out the content in TikTok where I speak a lot quicker, and then use Otter or a voice note recorder to transcribe the notes and then just lift the notes into a carousel far quicker than manually typing everything out. So how could you, or maybe, for example, you're someone that wants to write a really long, detailed, nurturing email for your email list. And then for LinkedIn, for example, you just lift bits out of that and you've got a week's worth of content. So have a think about how you can be using like repurposing content. Also on that, there is the platform called repurpose.io. So how can you be getting stuff sent without you having to manually do stuff, or Zapier? And then lastly, doubling down on long form nurturing content. So giving people a chance to really get to know like you, your expertise. Yes, people are going to be, creating more volume and potentially growing their following quicker. But because there'll be the expectation of that short form content anyway, the ones that will stand out will be the ones that have long form nurturing content. Whether that is like a really juicy once a week email, whether it is a podcast or YouTube, whether it is a monthly masterclass, whatever that might look like for you, but giving high level value to your people who have already opted into your world in some way. Alrighty, some things that we're going to see happen. So lots more flash in the pan, people. And what I mean by that, like sad but true, is because we're going to see more and more people coming in, we're also going to see more and more people dropping off, either because they're like a little bit misled as into the amount of work that's going to be expected for them to hit, 10K, 20K, 100K, because they've seen some TikToks that's like, here's how to make 10K while you sleep. So we're going to see a lot of people coming in, which means that we'll also see a lot of people dropping off, and people might come in with all the best intentions, but then a month later or 3 months later, they become an empty profile. So both for you as the service provider, be looking for people that have either got a long history of content, but also a good engagement rate, or just you can see, I feel like you're all knowledgeable. You can see people who are full of shit, or they've paid for their followers, or just people that are fake. But yeah, so we're going to see a lot more people who have all the dreams, but when they realize the reality that it's hard work, people are going to drop off. So there'll be potentially a boom in new starters. And this time next year, you're doing a clear out of empty and deserted profiles. What it does mean on that is if you've got ways of helping the people that have got, that are either early into their journey, or you've got something juicy that you can either give them some value to get started and build trust early doors, that you could potentially capture these people. I'm just going to check the chat. Oh, good, Hannah. So more AI generated content, and the move both toward and away from that. Like I was saying earlier, it's going to be expected that some people are using ChatGPT. I'm more on TikTok now, having just restarted my account, and there are things showing you how to create and use AI to create high volume of content, being like, get your hooks here, get this video from here, repurpose it, boom, 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 boom. Like, it's crazy. So for you trying to stand out in 2024, know that this is going to be happening. Probably either, read the caption for more. Or stuff that's just text over the screen. That could be just facts that they've literally lifted from Google. The reality of it. And so whilst there will be some people that choose to move towards this type of content, for you would be saying, right, how can I really differentiate myself away from this? How can I either make it specifically about my brand or infuse my unique either way of doing things or my unique expertise in this area to just be distance away from the generic crap that we're going to see. All good, Beth. I'm nearly at the end. Things that we're going to see happen. So more talk to cam content. Like I was saying on the AI, we're going to see a lot of just videos with text over it because this is what people are being taught to create because it's quick. So if you want to stand out against the AI generated content, the more that you can do either talk to cam content because it's quick to create and high quality because they're seeing it from you. It's literally like the words from the horse's mouth. And so, you know, you can still do the stop start or just take a breath or do it in one long thing and then chop out the bits. But more talk to cam content we're going to see happen because, again, rather than spending hours on a carousel, this is something that you can create in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. A lot less engagement, but more out of the blue buyers. So people like the lurkers, basically, assume that they've already gone to look at you on various different platforms, assume that they've already informed themselves and chosen you as the one that they're going to go with. So by the time that they come through and speak to you, they're either already ready to buy or at least ready to inquire and find more. They're not necessarily going to be the ones that are liking your posts. I'd arguably say they're not the ones liking your posts. So it might be that you see less engagement as more people are coming into the market, but what you will see, just trust that the people who are interested, and this is why I like speak to your high-level buyers, trust that they are always watching, even if you can't see that they're watching. It's going to be a bit of a trust the process, but this is where people will seemingly drop out of the blue. They might have just found you and been like, yes, she's the one for me. Or they might have been stalking you for months and just that last post was the one that they wanted to see. And so some little tips on how you can get ahead for 2024. Ooh, last slide here. Carve a distinct name for yourself, both by showing your face regularly, but also distinct branding. Can you be associated with either a color, a theme, a emoji, a picture, and getting visible, building your brand? Give a ridiculous amount of value for free so that people feel crazy to say no to working with you. The stuff that you're giving either in your content or in your newsletter is so good that people are like, I need to pay this person because she's given away so much good stuff for free that like it feels offensive not to. Own your USPs. So when you think about like your X factor, your main character energy, the thing that you want to be known for, like the legacy that you're building that stands you out against anybody else, really dial up the dial in that. How can you crank that right up? Whether it's, you know, bringing in a post where you speak about that specific thing once a week, whether it's doing a live speaking about that once a month, whether it's creating a masterclass or a product or offer specifically around that thing. How can you become known for a thing? Like I'm becoming known for main character energy, and that was just something that I was feeling at the time, and I was just like, well, let me do an event called this, and I've just decided to run with it. And so what's there something that you can become known for in your industry? And then lastly, seek opportunities to go against the grain or do what's not expected. Like me starting this masterclass with, I'm not going to pitch to you because you're expecting me to pitch to you. So how can you go against what people expect? Whether it's hosting a free masterclass, whether it's running a live event, whether it is just doing things the way that typically have always been done, how can you go the opposite way? The easiest way to stand out is going to be to go in the opposite direction to the majority. This is also a little angle of how you can sell offers easier. Like I did my speed up for summer mini mind, and I said, everyone else is slowing down for summer, we're speeding up. That was my, you know, controversial angle, being like, everyone else is doing this thing. Here's why we're going the other way. Here's how you're going to benefit by going against the majority. So have a think about either opportunities that you can go against the grain, do what's not expected, move away from the crowd. And that brings this to a conclusion, guys. Thank you for sticking around for. I'm going to stop the share on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts, ideas, if you've got questions at all. You're more than welcome to ask them. Evie Ramshaw. How are you, Leonie?
I'm good. Good, thank you. Just got back from my holiday this morning, so dash home from the airport, and then I was like, oh, I can make this live. So that was quite nice.
Amazing.
But yeah, the next couple of days for me, I am not officially back in office, but I'm taking this time to do some business stuff and kind of get the balls rolling again. So I feel like this is really handy just for me to kind of have all of this in my back pocket before I start that process.
Good. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, really, really really good, really useful. So much information as always.
Thank you, darling. Evie and Ramshaw, I don't know if you've got any, or if you want to come on, or if you're there. Or Narina, if you've got any questions. Here's Evie. Hello, Flower.
Hey.
How are you, lovely?
Good. Not enjoying the weather, but yeah.
Not quite, Barley?
No, just sad.
Any thoughts to come back to Bali?
Yes, but my other half wants to do more like Europe. And I kind of want to be a little bit closer to home. So we're thinking maybe Spain and Portugal first before we do anything else. So
lovely. Exciting.
Sarah, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's just in relation to you starting over again on TikTok. Did you just archive all of your content but keep the same profile, or did you start a completely new profile?
I've started a new profile.
Okay.
The old one is still up at the moment. Arguably confusing people because there's still old content that is still visible, so it's still getting traffic. But I wanted to just leave that running, start the new one. I will bring some of the better performing ones and like download them and re-upload them just as a test, and then eventually archive and deactivate the old one. But I wanted to start new so that I'm not trying to out-train an algorithm that's already been built. I'm building a new algorithm.
Yeah. I've been thinking about doing the same thing on mine because I've got a little bit stuck in the trap of kind of it being both personal and business related, because as everyone does, I spend a lot of personal time on TikTok as well, scrolling through whatever, and I kind of want to separate the two. So I was thinking of creating a whole new account for business stuff separately. And I didn't know if you just archived and then
I try and do as well. So I've got a personal one. I don't post on it, but that's where I do my lazy scrolling.
Yeah.
So, you know, the fun stuff that I don't want on the business account, and I don't want it to think that that's what I want to see and that's who it should send my stuff out to. So when I'm on the business account, I'm very intentional as to what content I'm searching for and then who I'm engaging with after I've posted.
Yeah.
So that one is
that's what I've done wrong because I've posted bits of personal.
That's what I've done on the other one. It was a little bit of like mishmash, and I was just like, let me just rip the band-aid off, start over.
Yeah. I think I need to do the same thing because I posted like a reel about hen do that I went on last year, and it was all about like the design stuff I did for the hen do, so it was kind of related, but that went a little bit viral and it's just brought a whole load of people my way who generally just aren't interested in the design stuff and what I do. So it's like, oh, where did you buy these bags from, and where did you buy the sunglasses from? And I'm like, okay, I've made a mistake here. So yeah, I think I need to start afresh.
More intentional. Yes.
Yeah.
Are my paying clients looking for this information?
No.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Set yourself a challenge with it. That's what I've done. I've literally on my whiteboard over here, I've wrote out all the days of the month I'm posting on every single day, and I'm crossing them off as I go as like an advent calendar of TikTok.
Also, kind of like a follow-up question. I know this might be kind of an open-ended question, but how do you find so many content ideas to actually physically talk about on TikTok? Because I think that's one of the things that I struggle with as well.
First is having a bank of hooks to go to. So stuff that you can, like, is your just list of stuff that you can always go to, that is like your sentence starters. So maybe it says like, the biggest thing I disagree with is, and stuff like that, that you could open on any given day and you could freestyle.
Mhm.
You know, there might be days where more ideas come to you than others, but if you've got a whole bank and build this out of sentence starters, or at least prompts that you can then just fill in the blanks, there's a load of ideas.
Yeah.
Then if what I would be doing is looking at people in your industry who have already built big profiles. So you can do, it might be, I don't know, design coach or brand designer. You look for, you know, if you go into the trending bits, you can say like most liked within the last 3 months or something like that. And you can go find the content that's been the highest performing recently, because then you can go and see what types of content are performing well. How are they structuring it? What do you know, take the bits you like. Obviously, don't be ripping people's content off, but what are they doing well? Why is that content performing well? Is it because it's a recent thing and people want to see more of that thing? Was it the structure, or like, was it the hook was really catchy? And it's going to be a bit of a trial and error thing. So I'd say start with your hooks, go see what's already working, save content ideas and stuff that is either inspiring to you or stuff that you're just like, oh, I want to do my take on that theme.
Mhm.
So that you've got a, you know, a saved folder of stuff that you can come back to on the days where you're a bit, you know, running dry.
Fab. Yeah. Thank you.
I have
As
a follow-up.
in your, yeah, let me just
I
go,
have a
what
follow-up.
is your day-to-day stuff, Leonie? Because you can have your bank of ideas, you know, like your hooks, and then under the themes that you might put it under, like, oh, today I'm going to teach something. Today I'm going to give a controversial opinion. Today I'm going to do something that boosts my authority within the industry. So you've got your hooks, you've got your pillars. So there's various different ways of you doing those.
Yeah.
And then for the more day-to-day stuff, that can be either, you know, a client story that you're working on currently, or, you know, just a bit of feedback you've just got, something that's more recent. So yeah, that's how I become a never-ending content generating machine, is that I have a long list of hooks. I've got my angles that I apply stuff under. So that's my unlimited content matrix. If you ever see me talk about that, that's what it is. It's literally the longest list of hooks, my themes. I can always just do, right, that theme to that hook, that theme to that hook. So there's always ideas there. Then as I get better in business, there's more ideas for me to bring to those ways of doing things. Then there's the daily life lessons or client stories that I can bring in as well.
Yeah.
So if anything, I have to decide which idea I'm leading with today, because there'll be like 10 that I want to bring through.
I love that. Honestly, the amount of time I've obviously been following you for a long time, and sometimes I like your content pops up and I'm like, how has she got something new to talk about again today? Especially on TikTok, you kind of nail it over there. But yeah, thank you for that. That's really helpful.
Oh, good. If it's an interest, I am just finalizing the unlimited content matrix I was just talking about that previously was only available inside SOSA. I'm going to be packaging it up and selling that as a digital product. So it will be available to buy so that you never run out of content ideas as well.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Sounds
Like,
incredible.
next day or so, it'll be available, you know, for in my links page very soon.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you.
I'll probably buy that. I just wanted to ask, on TikTok, is it a good idea to repurpose content that you put on Insta?
I would do it within TikTok, so create it differently.
Right.
Rather than just taking your carousel post, for example, and just smashing it into TikTok, is there a way that you can take that theme,
Mm-hmm.
do it differently, either by doing it in a talking way, or you can do picture posts on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I've not experimented with those, so I couldn't tell you how good they are. I think it's worth experimenting with and just trying out what works for you.
Right.
The other thing is, if you wanted to repurpose stuff that you've already created for Insta, for carousel posts, you can download those as a PDF file so that it's in one document and repurpose those on LinkedIn. And
Right.
it's called upload document. You upload it as one single file rather than 10 story slides.
Right.
Whoop, whoop. We're going to see multi-platform wonderness. Excited. Well, thank you very much, ladies. It's been awesome to spend the evening with you. I'm on a call now with my Sold Out Sales Academy ladies, but I shall see you once this replay pops up. Thank you, Ramsha. Good to see you. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, Leonie. Thank you, Norina. And for the people who are watching the replay, any questions that you've got, send them to me after in the chat. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Bye.
Bye.